He reached for his cigarettes before he remembered he had quit smoking some weeks before. He swung his feet over the side of the bed and stood up, stretching. He'd had only 3 or 4 hours of sleep. He'd have had more if the captain hadn't called, but he felt pretty well. At 29, he could stand the strain. He showered, then fixed himself some breakfast. He retrieved the LA Times from outside his door and scanned it as he ate. There it was, on page 4. Pianist killed in Sunset Boulevard accident. Somebody got it in the paper at the last minute, he figured. That way there was no time for anybody at the paper to investigate before they went to press. Lillian Talbot, a professional musician, was killed in a traffic accident on Sunset Boulevard early this morning. Police say Miss Talbot, who was on her way home from a party at which she had played the piano, ran a stop sign at the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Camden Drive and drove into the path of an oncoming car, the resulting crash killing her instantly. The other driver was examined by a doctor and pronounced unhurt. The Beverly Hills Police Department released a statement that said, in part, the accident was witnessed by one of our officers on patrol, and a thorough investigation indicates that Miss Talbot was at fault. A test of the other driver's blood found no trace of alcohol, and no charges will be brought against him. Well, that wrapped it up neatly, Rick thought. He washed the dishes and put them away. Rick was neat by nature, and as a result, the little apartment in West Hollywood seemed a better place than it really was. He got dressed, and in changing the contents of his pockets from the uniform to his civilian clothes, he came across Eddie Harris's card. Edward R. Harris, Executive Vice President, it read. Rick picked up the phone and called the number, which turned out to be a direct line. "Mr. Harris's office," a woman's voice said. "My name is Rick Barron. Mr. Harris asked me to call him this morning." "Oh, yes, Mr. Barron," she replied. "Mr. Harris would like it if you could come to see him at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Would that be convenient?" "Yes, it would." "There'll be a pass for you at the main gate. Come to the administration building. The guard will direct you." "I'll be there at 4. Rick hung up. A future for him at Centurion? It was nice to know there might be a future for him somewhere. Rick, dressed in his best suit, drove his Chevrolet coupe down to the Beverly Hills Hotel and went to the barber shop. He had a shave, a haircut, and a manicure, and feeling fresher, had a club sandwich in the garden of the Polo Lounge. He couldn't really afford all this anymore in his reduced circumstances, but he felt like keeping up appearances. Word had already gotten around about his being busted, and he wanted to be seen doing the usual things. He didn't want people feeling sorry for him. He spoke to a few people he knew, left a generous tip, and went back to his car. He didn't have anything to do until 4, so he drove out to Santa Monica, to Clover Field, and parked at the tin hangar that was Barron Flying Service. He looked into the office and found only the bookkeeper. "He's in the hangar," she said, barely looking up from her ledgers. Rick strolled into the hangar to find his father changing the oil in the smaller of his 2 airplanes. He was dressed in his suit trousers, a white shirt, and a tie. Rick grabbed 2 sets of coveralls from a shelf, got into one, and handed the other to his father. "Put these on, Dad. You'll ruin your clothes." "You sound just like your mother," Jack Barron said, struggling into the coveralls. "What brings you out here?" Rick walked around the airplane and peered at the other side of the engine. "It's my day off. I thought I'd see how you're doing." He picked up a wrench and tightened a fuel line fitting, then began looking for other anomalies. "I'm doing fine," Jack said. "You want to fly a party down to San Diego for me this afternoon?" "Sorry, Dad, I've got an appointment at Centurion Studios at 4. "They making you a movie star?" "I don't think that's what they've got in mind," Rick said, laughing. "But a guy named Eddie Harris seems to have something in mind." "I've heard of him," Jack said. I could use some business from those people, if you get a chance to mention it. I'll do that at the first opportunity." Rick noticed an airplane he hadn't seen before, a Lockheed Vega, parked in a corner of the hangar. "Who belongs to the Bush plane?" he asked. "New customer. I'm leasing it from him." The two men worked on quietly for a while. "I heard you're back in uniform," Jack said. "Afraid so," Rick replied. "Heard it was something to do with a girl." "It was. Figures. You want to hear about it?" "Only if you want to tell it." "I was seeing this girl, and she turned out to be Captain O'Connell's niece." "Wouldn't think that would upset anybody all that much, unless you got her in trouble." Rick blushed, in spite of himself. "Well, yeah." "She's still in trouble?" "Don't worry. You're not going to be a grandfather." "Not ever?" "Never say never." "Well, I guess you can handle it. You always land on your feet, you do." "I try." "You ever want to fly for me, come into the business, it's here." "Thanks, Dad. I appreciate that." "So how long's it going to take for you to get the gold badge back?" "I don't know. I don't know if I want it back." That was a lie. "What do you want?" "I've always wondered." "Me too," Rick replied. The two men continued working on the airplane.